The goal here with this webinar is to help people who are new to trading and or new to real life trading as a company find what they need. If you're a little lost, or you need some resources, or you're not sure where to go from here, that's kind of the whole goal of this, is just give you an opportunity to have some live interaction with one of the trading moderators. So in the day trading room, the speed there is such that the moderators don't often have the opportunity to directly interact with everybody outside of the chart. So this is a much slower version of that webinar, where we're just going to chill here and have a chat. I have some stuff prepared that I can go through, but it's really just introductory, this is who we are and this is what we do type stuff. So what I would like to do is, anybody who's willing, go ahead and unmute yourself. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been trading and maybe how you found real life trading.
Hi.
We'll go from there. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, nice to meet you. Scotty is great.
Scott. Perfect. All right. Nice to meet you, Scotty. Fire away.
Yeah. So I am new to trading, new to real life trading. It was at the recommendation of a friend of mine that I got connected with real life trading and some of the resources there, and have really enjoyed going through the beginners stuff. I've completed it once and I'm reviewing it now so that I can remind myself of all the mistakes that I shouldn't be making.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's good refresher as well. And I started to venture into the intermediate. I think I completed most of that as well, but it felt like I didn't have the basics, so I wanted to go back to basics. Anyway, coincidentally, I was talking with a friend of mine. His name is Chad King, and he's actually good friends with Jeremy Newsom. And so because of that, I just felt like I knew a celebrity. So it was kind of a cool small world experience. But yeah. Right. Anyway, Chad King is a good friend of mine, and he also highly recommended Jeremy and said he's really good. And so I decided to venture into the when I saw the Black Friday deal for the class coming up in January, I signed up for that, and I'm really excited to dive in and get more experience. But gosh, it's I have mixed success so far. And this is based on, just trying to venture into the hammer stuff. When I think about trading based on more complicated analysis, like the one white soldier or all of these technical terms that I can't even remember off the top of my head. But when I start to think about that, it's kind of overwhelming, and I just want to be really successful at this. I am fortunate enough to have some resources that I can throw at this, and hope that I can get something to stick. But I would love to make this a good portion of my income. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, Scotty. Good to meet you. Lots of points there. So before we move on real quick, let me touch on a couple of things. There is a Chad on the call. Is it the same Chad? I'm curious. Maybe Chad can tell us.
No, different Chad.
Different Chad. All right. Well,
I do know a Chad King though, but it's not the same Chad.
All right. Well, we'll come back to Chad in a minute.
RT, not to interrupt. I just want to let you know that the chat says it's disabled.
Oh, let me fix that. I'm sorry. Panelists can chat with everyone. Attendees can chat with everyone. All right. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting to do that. It's a default setting in Zoom that changed recently, and I do this webinar once a month. So by the time the next month comes around, I've already forgotten the last time this happened. So
Thanks, by
I
the way.
apologize. Everybody should be able to chat now. So throw your questions in there if you want to. I'll try to get to them. I wanted to touch on a couple of things Scotty was talking about, though, because I think it's applicable to, generally speaking, newer traders and people new to RLT. So correct me if I'm wrong, Scotty, but you said that your goal was to make this a substantial portion of your income and that you have some quote unquote resources to throw at this. Does that mean monetarily or does that mean time wise or both?
Monetary primarily.
Okay.
Time is limited.
Got it. All right. So are you focusing on swing trading then?
Yes, that's
Okay.
where I think my effort is best spent, at least at this point. I want to learn day trading, but that seems even more intimidating and ambitious at this point.
Yeah, obviously. If you're still kind of working your way through candle patterns, I wouldn't recommend day trading it for a while. But here's what I will say. This goes to anybody who's new to trading and is just getting into it. One of the biggest mistakes that early traders make, in my observation, there's a lot of them, and I've made them all right? So I am not condemning anybody. I'm just here to speak truth, hopefully. One of the difficulties when you first get into trading is that it can be very overwhelming. Not only is there a lot to learn with just basically understanding fundamentals of how the stock market moves, how to read price charts, how to profit from different strategies, that type of thing. But once you get past all of that, okay, let me tell you, there are an endless supply of indicators that you can add to your chart to make it more complicated. There are an endless number of choices in terms of which strategies to deploy when and how and all of those things. All right, so one of the things that Jeremy says in the day traders course, which you haven't gotten to yet, Scotty, but it's applicable to every kind of trading, that has always stuck with me and has I've kind of tried to, focus on in terms of getting my own trading on track. The market rewards the specialist, not the generalist. So for now, Scotty, I think you're still in a phase where I would say you are gaining an education, and I think continuing with that is the way to go. And when you've mastered what you're working through currently, then maybe you can learn something else. I would say if you want to get into swing trading, you're definitely going to want to go through and quote unquote master the content that is in the intermediate course, because it's very, very applicable to successful swing trading. All right. So work through that. That's what's right in front of you. And in terms of a goal of becoming profitable and doing this for a large portion of your income, that's what's next for you, is working through that and working through that learning. But ultimately, we're all going to get to a point where we're exposed to a number of different strategies. And the goal is to find those ones that you gravitate to the most, that suit your personality and your time investment the best, and then really focus on those and become master of those, because it's going to be very easy and very tempting to jump at all the different things, and it can occasionally be overwhelming. All right, so that was the first point I wanted to make based on some of the things that Scotty was saying. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that we're all clear on good expectations for what we're getting out of this. All right. Mastering the financial markets has the potential to be rewarding beyond your wildest dreams. Now, I've seen this to be true for myself personally. When I first got into trading, I had dreams of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it and how trading was going to make that happen. And it didn't quite go the way that I thought it would. Especially early on. I've blown up my share of accounts. I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but expectations is one of the big mistakes that I think people make early on. All right, so being patient with your journey in terms of focusing on the process and learning and growing into becoming a good trader, and finding ways to measure for yourself what that means is what will ultimately lead you to a place where trading can potentially be a source or even a significant source of income for you. And as I've gone through that process, I've seen my dreams begin to scale up with what I'm capable of doing in the markets. So have big dreams, chase them, but be very patient with the process, because especially if you're just starting out, I would say that in terms of achieving a large potential portion of your income on a regular basis from trading, we've generally seen that to take about 2 years or longer for most people. There are people who've done it faster, okay? That can absolutely be done faster. If you are extremely disciplined and you have a high emotional IQ, you're focused on becoming a better version of yourself each and every day, and then that reflects itself out in how you trade in the markets the next day, that type of thing. All right, those type of people can achieve results faster than that. But typically for most of us, and this was true for me as well, it takes 2 years, and then then you're probably ready to start scaling up. So I would say, just be aware of that. That doesn't have to be discouraging, by the way. All right. So if
No,
I was
absolutely, challenge accepted.
good deal, good deal.
Ironically, Chad King a year ago. So the reason I know Chad King is because he and I both invest in multifamily syndications.
Got it.
So he is actually one of my mentors as well as being a friend. And so anyway, 2 years ago, or excuse me, a year ago, he said something to me on a rooftop in Nashville. He said, you know, if you're going to be successful in this, it's going to take a couple of years to get really successful. And you're going to have to frequent your marketplace and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the long story short was I turned 11 units into currently 267 units that I have to my name, and 48 units under contract and another 20 under negotiations. So like in 1 year's time, I blew his expectations out of the water as well as some of my own. So I like your perspective. It's not discouraging at all. Thank you. I appreciate that perspective.
My pleasure, Scotty. I'm glad to hear it. It sounds like you've done very well in real estate, and if you continue to be patient and disciplined with your trading, I think you'll do very well in the markets too. I had a follow-up thought, and now I've lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me again. All right, cool. Who wants to go next? Chad was talking earlier. Different Chad. Other Chad.
What are we talking about? I
just tell us a little bit
bit.
about your trading journey and kind of what led you to RLT.
So been trading now for up to 2 years, and I'm coming from another trading platform.
Oh, okay.
And that platform, I mean, you guys probably are aware of the platform Warrior Trading, Ross.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
ask Jeremy about that sometime. There's a history there.
The education piece is great. I learned all about candlesticks and but the scalping trading that he does, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of money doing it. And I'm part of another group that Jeremy is also a part of, Real Life Trading, and we do Replace Your University up there in Tennessee and those type things. So he's one of the legs of that company as well. So they kind of market together and network together. So that's how I found Jeremy.
I see. But,
so I was with Ross for 2 years. I've been with Real Life for 3 months.
Okay.
And the Real Life process has been so much better. The R system, risk reward, how to plot out and take your time and watch the trades come to you versus me going after a trade and anticipating a pop, buying quickly, selling quickly, has been so refreshing. And so the journey's been great. And I blew up some accounts, and we're finally stable though. But we're stable. And so you know, I'm in that trend pattern, just a channel right now. So before it was always going down. Now I'm found myself in a channel, ready to break out of this channel. And I think I probably reality another year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Of really understanding the market, understanding the risk, and the S pattern, Tony's
S-curve,
S
yeah.
pattern, the S curve, has really helped me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you
I
take
mean,
Tony's class on that?
I did.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good stuff.
And that is really opened my eyes on how the market flows and when to get in. My entries are a whole lot better. My exits are a whole lot better. And so I'm just kind of dialing in on that, trying to perfect that as much as I can.
I remember what I was going to say, just to kind of put a bow on all of that. I try to have people temper their expectations when they first get into trading, and that usually means one of two things. It usually means having a stable source of income outside of trading initially while you're learning, because jumping right in and trying to learn trading while you also need it to pay your bills has almost never worked. I've never seen that work. And then that gives you the patience to stay the course. Now, some people get discouraged when I say 2 to 4 years probably, but what I was going to say about that, and it sounds like Scotty's already kind of figured this out, and maybe some of you here are also kind of already thinking this way, but that's not a high price to pay. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what your job is, or maybe was, or what have you. I don't work a job now. I own a couple of companies and I trade. That's my gig. My wife and I are dabbling in some real estate stuff, but that's a whole other story. Watch Hector and Louise' podcast if you want to know where we're at with that. But if I had come to myself 10 years ago, before I ever heard of real life trading or anything, and when I was working a corporate job, basically, if I had gone to that guy and I had said, hey, you can spend the next 40 years of your life working for this company or some similar company, making lateral moves, trying to, get there and putting a little bit of money away and maybe do some investing, whatever, and living the millionaire next door life and all of that. If you could do that, and then you can retire in, 30 years and maybe have enough to live on for the rest of your life. Or you can spend 2 to 4 years learning how to master a craft that will change your life, change the course of your life, change the course of your kids' lives, change the course of your grandkids' lives, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, for 2 to 4 years is not a high price to pay, I don't think. So, very cool. All right. Who else wants to share? Thank you, Chad, by the way. Thank you for telling us where you're at, and we'll go on from here. Anybody else?
I can if I must.
I'm not going to make anybody talk if they don't want to, Terrence, but since you are talking now, you have to talk.
It's kind of like all the things that you guys mentioned, that's where I was. You just most recently mentioned the trying to trade to make money at first, which doesn't work, that's actually what happened to me. I guess it was actually a while back, like 7 years ago, when I first attempted it.
Okay.
I always thought, like everyone else, it was risky, but then I tried it. A buddy who was doing it, his group pretty much short. So, kind of like, when you're permit, but theirs were more on low float stocks, low float or penny stocks. So when it goes up, it comes back down. But the thing with that is that, without the R system and stops, you could easily, it may work for a while, but then it just takes out one trade to take you all out, which is what happened to me. Yeah. And funny story, how I know it was like 7, 8 years ago, because I actually met Jeremy, through all our search for, education and everything else. I came across real life trading actually when he just started. It was probably a year, and he's just a year into it, I guess, real life trading. And he came to Florida. I met him at the time. We hung out. He actually showed me how to play poker. And at that time,
that's funny.
Yeah, I remember. But at that time, again, I was in between jobs. I was trying to do to make money, and although I was doing the R system, I was doing R's. It wasn't enough to pay the bills. So then you try to risk more, and then now you're. Long story short, this didn't work like that. So I gave it up in terms of I got a job, got, busy with the job. I was didn't have time for it. And then about I'll say maybe less than a year ago, I tried to dabble in it a little more, do a little more doing trades while I worked. And then, doing the shorting stuff, which kind of worked for a bit then, but one stock, I guess, I can't remember what it is now, went against me and I lost a good bit. And I was like, gonna leave it alone for a while. And then I think, but I always knew, like you mentioned, there is the potential for it to be life-changing. I knew there was something there that offered freedom, offered a lifestyle, not necessarily to be rich and profitable, but in terms of it frees up your time. And that's what I really wanted, to have time to do things that I wanted to do, not to be dependent upon a job, upon somebody else's schedule. Anyway, I say all that to say so I rejoined, I guess, Real Life Trading when they had the last free week, and now you'll have the all access pass, and I started there, and currently trying to start over because again, learning doing the 10 strategy. Actually have some schedule some mentorship with Johnny. I have a couple, maybe one or two more, working on tightening up my plan and going from there. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I know it's a process, and hopefully sooner or later, like a point of the year or so, I could be raising my R where it will actually mean something. I have a very, very small R now because it's something until I am consistently profitable every month, or in terms of R's, then as well, I'll increase it to something where I think makes sense. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, great. Thank you, Terrence. Perfect. The great thing is that anybody can really get started on this, and you don't have to risk a lot initially. So if you guys are looking for a way to potentially move the needle in terms of, well, let me put it this way: if capital is what's holding any of you back, the funded account program is amazing, because for a 1/100th of the cost, you can get access to a $100,000 or $200,000. The catch is you have to be a profitable trader, because if you're not, you're just going to blow that account up. So a $100,000 account costs $1,000, all right, which is 1 R of that account, obviously. And if you successfully trade it for a 10% overall gain, which is 10 Rs, then you get the money. You actually get a live account. And if you maintain a pattern of profitability, then you can actually start withdrawing real money from that account. So you invest $1,000, and you can earn your way towards $100,000. And we have 200,000, we have 500,000. Maybe you want to start small. We have 25,000, we have 50,000. So there is a path forward for everybody here to replace their income with trading if they want to. All right. It starts with learning how to trade, though, and being a profitable trader, which is oftentimes the hang up, right? Because if you have a funded account, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to use it properly. So what you need to do is learn about the markets, and then pick 1 or 2 strategies that you like, and then you need to back trade those strategies, 50 to 100 trades each. Make sure it's profitable. If it's not, you need to change something and then back trade again. Do that, and then paper trade real markets for about 2 or 3 months. After if you're profitable doing that, then you can start trading real money or using a funded account, like I said, trade in your demo account. And if you're profitable for 3 months in a demo account with a very small R, then you can raise your R, and you repeat this process over and over and over again. And at any point you have to start over, you go back to the back trading phase. And once you've developed a plan and a system where you're a consistently profitable trader, then you can take funded accounts and you can apply leverage. And as long as you can maintain your discipline with the bigger numbers, you can, if you're a profitable trader with a $30,000 account, and you have a track record of being profitable over the course of 6 months to a year, what have you, you're profitable every month, You can scale that up then when you're ready to a 100, 200, $500,000 account. Let's say you average 3 hours a month and you think that that's not going to do it, right? Oh, how am I going to eke out a living if I can only manage 3 hours a month? The trick, guys, is if you are consistently able to get those 3 hours, maybe some months it's 2, maybe some months it's 4, but it's right around 3 hours pretty consistently, and you've got a track record behind you that's 6 months to a year deep that says this is what you're able to do with your trading system, well, then you can buy the $500,000 account, trade a $5,000 R. 3 hours a month is $15,000. Now, that's not necessarily going to replace everybody's income, but it's going to radically change most people's lives. An extra $15,000 a month is going to reshift some things. That would be enough for most people, but there are some who maybe that's not, maybe they kind of have, their hands in two places or something like that. But that's another thing to consider. Your biggest focus needs to be, how do I become a consistently profitable trader? Don't worry about the money. The money will come to you when you are ready for it. It took me so long to learn this. I always thought the answer was more money, more money, more money. I need more money. I need more capital. And guess what? I would just end up blowing up bigger and bigger accounts. The key is to focus on the process and focus on becoming a consistently profitable trader. And then you can actually now just buy the leverage that it would take to take your trading system and kind of put it on steroids. Let me go through some things while we are chatting here, and then I'm going to open it up to the floor for general questions. Is there anybody else who wanted to share? Otherwise, I'm going to just kind of roll into a couple of things I wanted to talk about here, just so we have it on the recording. I don't hear any objections, so I'm going to move forward. Let me shift my desktop a little bit here. Okay, cool. All right, so everybody on this call, well, actually, I think there's a couple of you who are coaching clients and got invites that way. So you may not have a dashboard that looks like this, but if you're subscribed to a mentor group, or, well, actually, everybody has this dashboard because you get it for free. So that I know for a fact is the case. You do have this. What may change is what kind of services you have available to you. If you're a subscriber to the All Access Pass, then that would be like the swing trade and the day trade rooms. If you joined a mentor group, that's probably got an icon in here somewhere, that kind of thing. So a couple of highlights I want to draw your attention to. All right. If you ever have questions and there's not a moderator immediately available, and it seems like something that that somebody's asked before, it's quite possible. All right, we have thousands and thousands of videos on our YouTube channel. You can literally topically search our YouTube channel with this box right here. A lot of people don't know about this, and it's a really great tool. So I could come in here and I could go, what do I want to say? I could do hammers, that hammer candle. That Scotty was mentioning hammers earlier. Well, what you can do is you throw that in there, and then it'll bring up a whole bunch of videos that are relevant to hammer candles. So that means that these videos they talk about hammers, or they deal with hammers in some way, something like that. Another example you could use would be covered calls or something to that effect. All right, so then you've got a whole bunch of videos on potentially what a covered call is and how to trade it. All right, so if you're more of a self-directed person and you just want answers as long as you know where to find them, this is a great resource. For example, if you go to YouTube and you go to our channel, if you search anything in this box right here, you should get very similar results. All right. It's practically the same thing, except it's built right into your dashboard. All right. So that's a resource that not everybody knows about that I want to make available to you guys. The other thing I wanted to say is, let's say that you have done your education. All right. You've taken all the free courses. You have a pretty good understanding of the markets, how they work, all of those types of things, but you're really just not sure what kind of strategy to use. Well, it turns out we have a whole bunch for you. We have a whole book on day trading strategies for free. We have a whole book on swing trade strategies for free. All right, I'll click on one of these just so you can see what these look like. You come in here and it gives you everything. All right, what kind of charts and indicators you need, charting examples over here, and then a step-by-step process of exactly how to trade that strategy. All right, so everybody in here has the resources to become a profitable trader. You can literally grab one of these books, pick one of these strategies, back trade it, become profitable, paper trade it, be profitable while paper trading, get a funded account. That could cost as little as 250 bucks, and you can start making money trading all right here, and you don't have to do much else if you don't want to. Now, obviously you can buy coaching and you can take mentor groups, and that will shortcut your process and move you along faster, right? That's what education and associations does for us. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of those resources. All right, make sure that you have a plan. There's a sample plan for day traders here. There's a sample plan for swing traders here. Those will give you rules around how to manage your trading so you don't lose too much money and you manage your portfolio correctly. All right, so if you click on those, what you will see is what a potential day trading plan would look like. All right, so it's got your R there, maximum loss rules, what you're going to focus on. All right, all of the rules on the entry, and then rules for how to manage the trade, risk reward, all of that. Okay, all of that you should have. If you, by the time you want to get to a place where your trading plan is written down and documented, and you understand it so well that you can explain it to somebody else, and somebody else can pick up your trading plan, sit down and trade exactly the way you trade using your plan. Ideally, that's how detailed a good trading plan should be. All right, so that will get you started there. And then you can pick any one of these strategies and build it inside of that plan. And you'll have a whole trading system at that point. Then guess what? Go back trade it for 100 trades. Make sure you understand it. Make sure that you can do it profitably. Track your results. Paper trade live markets, 2-3 months. Track your results. If it's profitable.
Sorry, what the question was, what's back trading?
Oh, okay. We need to go over back trading. Cool. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I will explain that. All right. But real quick, this is another good example of where you could search YouTube and you'll get to see all kinds of different ways on what back trading is and how to do it. All right. How to practice your day trading, back trading part 3. That's a great series there. I know Matt has a video as well. So you're going to want to start looking at some of these videos. But back trading is basically going back in time and pretending to trade. All right, so what you're going to do is, I'm just going to pull up a chart real quick. All right, this is Apple. This is, I had a coaching client on earlier. We were working on this. You can do this with any charting software by simply sliding the chart to the right. Okay, and then you click the chart forward one candle at a time. TradingView is really cool in that they have a bar replay feature, but basically what you're attempting to do is you're going to take your trading system and your strategy and you're going to go back in time and you're going to fake trade it. All right, so let's say you wanted to day trade Apple. Well, you would probably do that on, let's just say you wanted to do that on a 3-minute time frame. Let's say we wanted to back trade Apple earlier today. You can literally set the candle back so that all you see is the opening candle, and then you just click it forward. All right, so this allows you to think and plan how you're going to trade, why you're going to trade, what you're going to trade, and what your rules are going to be without the speed and the pressure of live markets. All right, so you're going to walk it through one candle at a time. What would I do here and why? For example, somebody mentioned the 10 EMA strategy, which is the kind of team strategy we're focusing on here at Real Life Trading. All right, so let's just back trade the 10 EMA strategy. As we start, this is our first candle, all right? We're above the 10 EMA, which means we want to be bullish, but I need a bear candle to close above the 10 EMA, all right? These are not bear candles, those are bull candles. So I'm waiting. All right, so at this point right here, we get our first bear candle to close above the 10 EMA. So the trading setup would be, I'm going to go long above that candle and I'm going to go short below the 10 EMA. All right, so your trade setup might look something like this. This is just an example, okay? Do some more study if you want to go over kind of different ways to implement this. But the next candle comes in, it never would have triggered. All right, it never went to my green line. So then I might move it down to the next one. All right, so then my trading setup might look something like this. All right, well, that didn't trigger either. Now we're below the 10 EMA. So now I'm probably looking for a bearish trade, which means I want a bullish candle closing below the 10 EMA. All right, nothing. And then right there, we get our first trigger. All right, if you were following the 10 EMA setup, which by the way, is available to everybody for free. If you want to know how that works, go to your dashboard and go and read this free book. Where did it go? This one right here, RLT 10 EMA strategy, completely free. And this is the primary strategy we're using for the year. All right, so then it's a bearish trade. So I'm going to get in below the low of that candle. All right, so I'm going to set my stop. If it feels like I'm going really fast, that's because I'm just giving you guys an overview of what back trading looks like. All right, this isn't necessarily a strategy session, although it could turn into that if we have time later. But all right, so what happens next? Well, that doesn't trigger. All right, that one triggers. It crosses my entry. So now I'm in the trade. So I want the trade to go down at this point. All right. Oh, my pleasure, Scotty. So now I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Maybe you have some stop movement rules. All right, after a certain period of time, we're going to move our stop because we don't want to lose a full R. All right, so I'm going to move my stop down. At this point, I'm just going to try to follow the 10 EMA trend. And if I had stayed in the trade for that length of time, I would have hit my 1.2 R target. And if I were trading a $100,000 account, all right, and I was risking 1.2 R, or I was risking 1 R from the green line to the red line, which is my stop out, or I usually do a little bit more for the target just for win risk reward ratio, okay? If I were risking 1.2 R as my target, I would have hit it right there, and in a $100,000 account, that would be $1,200 I just made. And I would have made it in let's see here. I got in at 8:15 and I would have been out at 9:27. So I would have made $1,200 in an hour and 10 minutes. Something like that. All right, and then this is how it goes. You can do this process on any day in the history of Apple. There's another day, there's another day, there's another day, there's another day, there's another day. What if you're a swing trader? Great, use a daily chart. All right, I want to trade the 10 EMA on Apple as a swing trader. Cool. All right, well, the last time we changed direction on the 10 EMA was back over here in August. All right, so this is a daily chart. There's a daily candle. There's a daily candle. All right, that's a bull candle. That's a bull candle. Whoops. This one wouldn't have triggered because we got to close on the wrong side of the 10 EMA, so we have to wait. The next candle to close below the 10 EMA in a bearish trend would have been this one. So you could have set a swing trade up where this is your setup. All right, and so then you wait, and you would have hit your target August 30th to September 29th. Obviously, swing trading takes longer. right? So maybe you have a couple of swing trades going at the same time, or maybe you use a little bit more size. You know, there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but that obviously would have been a winning trade as well. And you can back trade swing trading on a daily time frame as much as you can anything else. So that's back trading. As a concept, back trading is basically how you practice trading. When you think about high dollar professions, the example that comes to my mind frequently is sports, the NFL. Okay, so those guys spend 100 hours a week preparing for one 3-week game, 3-hour game. All right, they are working their bodies and working their minds all day long, every day, leading right up to game time. And then they try to apply everything they learned, practiced, and studied. Trading needs to be similar for you guys. All right. You should be doing at least 2 or 3 times as much practice back trading as you're doing real live trading. If you're doing real live trading more than you're practicing and or back trading, you have it backwards. Sasheen asks, what's 10 EMA? It is a strategy for directional stock trading. And as I mentioned earlier, you can find out about it in the dashboard. There's a free copy of it right here. Now, in your case, Sasheen, I invited you. I know what you're here for. This is not math-based option trading. All right, this is directional trading, which you can still use options for, but it's not exactly what you were looking for, I don't think. Although we could be, you know, we could look at it if you want to. All right, so that's back trading. Make sure that you understand how to do it, because that's what's going to turn you into a profitable trader. If you don't know how to back trade, or you don't back trade, you're going to struggle, because you're just going to be trying to figure it out as you go in live markets, and that never ends well. Make all your mistakes in the fake world, where the money doesn't actually matter and you can actually make decisions with a clear head. And then once you have a very specific plan that, because of your back trading, you know works, you back traded this plan 100 trades and it was profitable and it was successful, that gives you the confidence to go into the live markets and use that plan. And you know, hey, if I lose 2 or 3 in a row, it's going to even itself out, because I know this plan works. I back traded it 100 times for 100 trades. All right. And you go from there, and then evaluate your results overall on a quarterly basis. If you put in 2 or 3 months in a row of unprofitable trading, you should probably push pause. You should probably stop trading live money. You should probably reevaluate your plan, get some coaching, have somebody else look at it and maybe point out some things that need to change, or maybe the market shifted. You know, there's a lot of reasons for that could be the case. But once you have a plan and you build it out, sticking to it is the hardest part. Okay, but you never experiment with real money. That's what I'm trying to say. Experiment with fake money, and then when you know what works, execute a plan with real money. All right. So did I answer your question, Sasheen? I think we can lower your hand here. Yeah, the other thing you guys need to be doing, both in your back trading and in your real trading, is logging it. All right, so make sure you have a trading journal. There is, ours is right here. You can see what it looks like. It's pretty complex though. If you want a sample, make a copy of this one, all right, and start filling it out. And that you do that for your back trading and your live trading. You have to track your results. Again, I go back to a sports analogy. If I'm playing in the NFL and I want to get better, I'm going to watch film and I'm going to track my statistics. And back trading and using in a journal to track your statistics is exactly how you do that as a trader. These are the tools of improving as a trader. Come on, why is this thing choking all of a sudden? All right, so this is what the journal looks like. Basically, you enter the date. You can have a version of this for your back trading and a version of this for your live trading as well, because the practice back trading thing never ends. in my opinion. You should always be practicing and trying to improve. That doesn't mean you're constantly changing your plan. It just means you're going back over your losing trades and trying to see if maybe there was a way you could have done better, or if you, or verify whether or not you made a mistake, or potentially need to change something, you know. So you enter your date, you enter your ticker, what your entry and stop is, and then that fills in based on your risk, which is entered right up here. Okay, you enter your risk up here. That fills in how many shares you're supposed to trade, and then you document what you got filled at, etc. You know, any notes you want, you can post a chart in over here, and then it'll calculate your win-loss ratios for you. All right, and all of this, all of your statistics will fill out automatically. All right, so make sure you have a trading journal and you're logging your statistics. What gets tracked gets measured, and what gets measured gets improved. If you don't know what your statistics are, how do you know if you're getting better or not? Right? Okay. Last thing I want to take you guys through is just kind of introduce you to our team a little bit. For those of you who don't know us, where did the coaching page go? Is it all the way at the bottom? If you are interested in working with us more exclusively, all right, you have two ways of doing that. You can take a mentor group, which is you and about 4 or 5 other people for 8 weeks, once a week. You and the moderator and 4 or 5 other people, and you do a deep dive into something. Could be a strategy, could be a concept, could be a trading style, what have you. I mean, some of the ones that we have right now is Maloney did one for beginner traders, Arabia did one for futures, Emily did one for trading with kids. It's never too late or it's never too early to start educating them on how to change their lives and the lives of generations that follow. I'm in the midst of a mentor group right now that is focused exclusively on option trading. All right, so how to take your strategies and boost them with options. And then Matt is doing a mentor group right now that's specializing in automated trading. This is something, don't dismiss this just because you don't consider yourself a tech person. Just so you guys know, my plan is eventually to transition into doing this with at least some portion of my capital. All right, I have a bunch of irons in the fire right now. So I'm only really day trading at the moment, and I prefer to push the buttons myself on a day trading time frame. But eventually, when I get some of my capital back from the various businesses and real estate ventures that my wife and I are involved in, I intend to look into automating some of it just purely from a standpoint of leverage. All right, those of you who are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki and his concepts about time freedom, automated trading robots can create passive recurring income on a swing trading time frame. All right, they'll just trade a plan. You create a plan, give it to them, and they'll trade it. If it's a profitable plan, you don't have to be there to push the buttons. And here's the really cool part, guys. We have created a program that allows you to do this inside a funded account. So get your education, get an understanding, but if you want to, you can work with Matt. He'll teach you how to set up the robots inside a funded account, and you can use his out-of-the-box strategies. You do not have to know coding. You do not have to be a computer whiz. It's literally check boxes and click radio buttons. It's very easy, and the robots will trade for you. So that is definitely something I think anybody should be interested in, frankly, because I'll get to that.
You don't have to answer that right now. I was just putting it out there for the future.
Anybody should be interested in automated trading robots because of the fact that it is time freedom. All right, you can be out doing whatever you want while your robots are doing their thing. All right, so Scotty asked how I do the trade setup. This is something you can do in any charting setup. Thinkorswim can do it. Thomas actually has a video on it. So if you go to our YouTube channel and search for it, should find it there. But in TradingView, it is the fib retracement tool. All right. So if you understand fib retracements and how those work, you're going to use that tool. Even if you don't necessarily have to know, you just need to know what the tool looks like. This is what the fib retracement tool looks like by default. But how this tool works in every charting software ever. All of these are math ratios. They're just numbers out of the Fibonacci sequence. All right. And then you can set the colors and what lines you want to see yourself. So these are the default settings inside of TradingView. But you can manually change these to be whatever you want. And so in the case of my trade setup tool, I've checked only a few boxes: a stop, an entry, a 1.2 and a 2.4R target that are in purple, which is what RLT tends to use for whatever reason. That's a Jeremy thing, as a target line. All right, so that's how that's done. I turn off everything else by simply unchecking the boxes. The ratio for the stop is 0, the entry is 1, and because of the entry being 1 and that being the multiplier, if I want a 1.2R target, I have to add the entry to it. That's how the fib retracement tool works. So a 1.2R target is a ratio of 2.2, and a 2.4R target is a ratio of 3.4. So these are my settings. You can screenshot those if you want to. And then the other thing I do is I turn off the background shading because it just covers up the chart otherwise, and I don't like that. So once I've done that, then I have this tool where I can drag the whole thing around. I can put my entry line where I want it. I can set my stop, and then it'll automatically scale. It'll automatically scale my targets to where I want them to be. Cool? All right. Who else has got questions? What did I go through? Real quick, before we do that, I just wanted to say the mentor groups are a great way to take a deeper dive into some of the more advanced topics involved in trading. And then if you really want to go at warp speed and you just like, hold my hand, turn me into a trader, well, then your option is to work with our coaches one-on-one. And this is who we are. All right. So you have Thomas, who specializes in Thinkorswim, conservative option selling, day trading sentiment, all right, position trading. Stephen likes to focus on beginners, all right, so he'll help you get started. Arabia does futures. If you work during the day, but you want to trade at night, trade futures. Futures trade 23 hours a day, and you can find great trades all hours of the day and night, trust me, all right? There's always something exciting potentially waiting to happen in the futures market. So this is a great way if you like the idea of day trading, but you can't be there in the morning for the open, try trading futures. You might find that you like that. Yates likes to focus on building a plan, building discipline, and really unpacking the 10 EMA strategy. All right, so that's what you could do there. Xochi can help you with your trading and your plan, but she's more of a psychology expert, and she will also help you with potentially working with building businesses, building your own business, buying and selling businesses, all right, multiple streams of income. She's the president of RLT, so she's got a lot of background on that kind of thing. Definitely a worthwhile resource. Dan's kind of our day trade guru. All right, so big focus on day trading, patterns, gaps, Elliott wave, all of that. Also, we have David Potvin, who, like Matt DeLong, can help you with automating your trading. And you have Maloney, who does a combination of things, also does fibs and gaps, but she's kind of known as a specialist in bear trading. So she's had a hell of a year, as you can imagine. If bear trading kind of scares you, you may want to work with Maloney and embrace the dark side a little bit there. Then we have our master coaches. So these people are people who've been with RLT a long time, have a proven track record of very advanced or very lucrative skills that they're willing to share with you for a price. All right. So Tracy likes to focus on volume profile. She'll also help you with your plan and psychology. All right. Newer traders, if you really want to get a quick leg up, this is a great place to start. Tony is a bit of an option specialist, especially when it comes to credit spread trading. All right, he's a very good technician and has a couple of courses. All the master coaches have their own courses available, so you can find those in your dashboard. Johnny tends to focus on building a plan and moving into profitability. All right, so that's another good resource for a lot of you guys here. He also has a special program for military veterans. He's a retired U.S. Marine, worked for the Army for a long time, or the Marines, I mean, for a long time, and he's in Hawaii. So he's a really cool guy. You'll enjoy him. And then there's me. I am pretty much the options guy, right? So if you want to trade options, there's things you can do with options that you'll never be able to do with stock. That's just true. I can be wrong on a trade and still win. Only options can do that. All right. So if you want to trade options, I'm the way to go. The one caveat to the options trading, obviously, is you can't use a funded account. Funded accounts don't trade options. They are themselves a form of option. They're CFDs, which are basically stocks. All right. So you can't trade options in a funded account. But if you have an account and you want to do some really cool stuff with it, I can show you option strategies that would absolutely blow your mind. And then you have the big guys, right? You have Matt, who will teach you anything you want to know about swing trading and entrepreneurship. And you have Jeremy, who basically purports to just kind of change your life. I've been working with Jeremy for years, and obviously I can attest to that being the case. If you want to trade for a living and you have a lot of money and not a lot of time, this is the way to go. All right, give him buy a coaching session, and he will transform you. All right, mindsets and beliefs, purpose-built living. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can get out of that. All right, so that's us. That's our team. What questions do you guys have before we call it a night? Anybody throw out any question they want? Chad asks, do you ever buy naked options? Well, that depends on who you ask, Chad. There are many mentors here that do. I am not one of them. I am always using spreads or diagonals in some way to create positive theta and positive extrinsic value. So I do day trade weekly options, but even with those, I use hedge spreads. All right. And I do swing trade options. I actually exclusively trade options. I almost don't trade any stocks. And I use I use like 8 or 10 different option setups. None of them are buying naked options. Just a little plug for me and what I do, since you asked, Chad. Okay, so this is your fault. I'll show you guys something interesting. If you buy a stock, what are your odds of winning? Anybody know? In a vacuum, in a computer simulation, if you buy a stock, what are your odds of winning? Terrence has got it 50-50. That is correct, yes. The stock will go up or it will go down. Now, you may think your odds are better because you have a technical analysis set up, and maybe that's true. But in a vacuum, mathematically speaking, objectively, from the standpoint of a computer, you have a 50-50 chance of making money. If you buy a call option, your odds of making money on the same exact trade are actually only 35%. How and why that is the case, we don't have time to cover here. All right, but trading options is just generally harder if you do it naked. You have to be really, really right, and you have to do it very, very quickly. Or you can get creative with how you use spreads and how you use diagonals, and you can give yourself much, much better odds. You can actually set yourself up to a trade where you don't even have to look at a chart if you don't want to. Now, most of the people here at Real Life Trading do, but you can set up option trades that are so advantageous that you can still be wrong and make money. Does that answer your question, Chad? Andy asks, where will you post this recording? I will try to have it emailed. There's been a lot of, yeah, everybody asks, and often sometimes it gets lost, but I will make sure that we have this one and that it gets sent out in an email. All right, Andy. And in fact, let me make a note about that right now. I will need access to the Newbie night recording. Ping. Thanks. All right. So I have begun the process. They'll track it down, and then I'll submit it for editing, and it'll get sent out in an email. Cool. What other questions do we have? Anybody can ask anything. You guys good? For now. I'm not saying that you're done learning. But if you guys don't have any questions right this second, I think we'll call it there. You guys have a great night. Thanks for joining me. Good questions, good discussion. And I do this every month. So I'll see you next month on the first Monday. All right. Take care. Peace and blessings.